Hi, I'm Aniela Martin. I'm a scuba diver and oceanographer, and you're listening to the BiG Scuba podcast.
Hello and welcome to the BiG Scuba podcast. My name is Ian. Welcome for listening and downloading this episode. With me, as always, I'm not doing this alone, is...
Hello, my name's Gemma and I am the other co-host, and thank you for joining us on the BiG Scuba podcast.
As always, these episodes are sponsored by Narked at 90 and they are beyond technical. And we love having them on board with us.
We do. Have a look them up and check out their website, www.narkedat90.com.
The first name in diving. So if you want any diving kit, especially if you're in the techie world and what have you, need stuff.
Christmas ideas.
Oh yeah, Christmas is coming as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Goose is getting fat.
Goose, okay. But they've got equipment and gifts for all kinds of budgets as well. Even like covers for your dive computer.
Yeah. So, make sure you are listening and make sure you go to narkedat90.com and make sure you're following their blog. They've got a really good blog.
And their Facebook page.
Yeah. And make sure you fill in the right Facebook page, because they got hacked and a while back, and they're now recouping and make sure that's all up to date. So make sure you are following them out on their social media. So coming up, we have got another guest for you. You know us, we like to bring you guests for you, and her name is
Aniela Martin.
Yes. I knew how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Aniela Martin.
Aniela, I did know. See,
you did.
Yeah. There we go.
So we came across Aniela because of a previous guest, Sarah Donahue, who we interviewed a few episodes back. She recommended we talk to Aniela because of her.
And she was right.
Absolutely was. Yeah. So very interesting guest. And she works as a hydrographic surveyor.
Yes, and she told us she was a bit nervous about coming on the podcast. And I have to say, a pro. She was great.
They're brilliant, and as we say, it's always an informal chat. Nothing is sort of formatted or structured.
I don't think you're that scary at all.
Just like, anyway, so that's how the episode went, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll catch up with that shortly, but we've just got a few things that we're
going to been up to
cover. We went to the Ocean Film Festival on Wednesday evening.
We did. We dragged the Honeymeister along as well. She's getting into diving and whatever. We thought that'd be good for her.
I'd never been before. You had, hadn't you?
Yeah. I went. I think that was the third time now I've been, and really good evening. If you've not heard of the Ocean Film Festival, go to their website. Just Google Ocean Film Festival. It's been going now for several years, and they're really good because they pick up people's amateur filmmakers who will make a film, anything from 5 minutes to an hour, about their connection to the ocean. They could be surfers, sailors, divers, free divers, paddleboarders, underwater photographers, you name it, a connection to the water, and they made a film about it. And this organisation, who are sponsored by several others, long list. You go to their website to get the names, and they're brought to the public domain for people like us to go and see. And they also do, which I didn't realise, one at a different time during the year, which is about mountain life as well.
Yeah, it's called Banff. So that's going to happen in, I think it was February or March.
Yeah. So it goes. The organisation goes all the way around the UK, and I think it's international as
worldwide,
well.
Yeah.
But they'll go around different parts of the country and showcasing these these films.
Yeah, and it's really well put together. There's a host who compares it and introduces each film. Yeah. They have a little prize draw as well.
Yeah, there's prizes. Yeah, we like prizes.
We do.
Didn't win anything.
No, but okay. And they were very good prizes, actually, weren't they?
Yeah, they were actually. Yeah. They were sponsored by a tourist company, and there are £500 towards a holiday and things like that. So there's diving involved, with some of the films, and we'll talk about the films in a second, actually. But it's all sold out for this year, but for next year, certainly one to follow. And make sure if it's shown in your area, it's definitely worth the evening to go along. And I've got, what did we pay? £17 or something?
Yeah, it wasn't too expensive, but I think, I'd never been before and I didn't really know what to expect, and I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, it was held for us in Norwich. That was at UEA, and also representing PADI was Crystal Sea Scuba. Chris, Trudy, and Matt were there, and also we met Carl and Kelly from
another
Scuba Libre.
local dive centre, Scuba Libre. So it was good to catch up with them.
Yeah, not seen them for a while.
Yeah, and we saw a few other familiar faces. I think people from the RNLI or Water Safety Board, they were there as well. So, yeah, how many people would you say? 1,000?
I think it's about 1,000 getting the UEA's theatre hall there.
It was in like a lecture theatre, wasn't it?
Yeah. And next year they're talking about going to Theatre Royal because then more people can go. So
I'd imagine
the tickets soon sell out for it. So it shows you how popular it is.
Yeah. So the films, we saw 6 films in total. They ranged, I think the shortest was 9 minutes and the longest was 50.
Less than that.
Was it?
5, yeah, but
5
minutes, I think.
And then the longer one was just under an hour.
Yeah, which was Lisa's, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we saw, there was a film called The Call that was about Mike Coots, who was a enthusiastic surfer, just a lover of the water.
Yeah.
And he unfortunately lost his leg to a shark.
He did.
So,
yeah.
And it was just about his journey back, and he has now gone on to be an advocate for shark conservation.
Where was he? He was in California, wasn't he?
Yeah. No, Caribbean somewhere. Tropical, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hawaii, maybe, I don't know. Somewhere out that way anyway. But he was, considering a shark took a bit of his leg, he then goes into shark conservation and amazing photography as well. So he's really turned it around. So that was really good.
Yeah. Next up was Ice Maiden.
Yeah, that was the best.
Name of the film, not the actual person.
No.
To be clear.
So that was Lisa Blair, and she is a solo sailor.
Yeah, amazing, really, what she accomplished. So she was the first lady, but that's only been done twice before in history, actually, to circumvent the island of Antarctica.
Yeah, it's incredible, wasn't it? And that involves like going near Cape Horn, just incredible.
Yeah, which is well famous for the storms and the choppiness of the water. You get a bit of chop down there.
She mentioned seas of 9 metres swell.
Yeah, 9. That. So in part of the film, as she shows, it actually wipes out her mast in one of the storms. So it's got 23-metre aluminium mast, takes it off clean, and and she has to go out on deck in the middle of the storm on her own, 3 days sailing for any help. So, got no choice but battle the elements and to cut a mast free because it was starting to chunk away at the boat.
Put a hole in the boat,
which you don't want having a hole in the boat, do you, in the middle of the storm?
No, she's some gutsy girl for sure. And it was just, it kind of gave you real goosebumps. And it just kept you gripped, didn't it? An hour just whizzed by.
It'd be good to get her on.
Yes, yeah, well, we have made contact. So she's based in Australia at the moment. But that just followed her journey, and her boat was called Climate Action Now. So she was a big advocate of...
so she went back and finished it, but then went to complete the journey when the mast went, but actually went back at a later date to actually break a record. And the previous record was held by a French guy at 102 days or something like that. And she beat him by about nearly 2 weeks or something like that.
It was in 90 odd days she did it, didn't she?
Yeah. So, pretty amazing. And male, female, it doesn't matter. Just to make that journey on your own takes a lot. And you think the mental power to think I'm actually what you're doing and see it through takes some doing.
Yes, yeah. So that
you
was
get 9 meters of water coming at you. That's a serious amount of weight. Well, it could easily crash a boat. Yeah,
they were literally breaking the waves, weren't they? And that's it. At one point, it did turn the boat, so the mast hit the water.
That's bigger than a house. Because you think it's a house.
Well, when you put that into diving terms, it's more than the shelf at Stony, isn't it?
It is, coming at you in a wave at a rate of knots. And you're in this boat, which you think is big, until you're out on them seas, and that's tiny.
Yeah,
that's tiny.
But yeah, so that was really interesting. And then we went on to our third film called The Whale Song.
Yeah.
And that was about the synergy of whale song and also a DJ using that to make music.
Yeah, so Nan Hauser, who's a marine biologist, so I think she's fairly well known, she had heard this song in a magazine they gave a free LP.
Oceanography magazine.
And it was the sound of whales. It was the first recording of whales to then be released. And it was all new back in the 60s and that. And if you, as the saying goes, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there.
And she'd been in the industry as a sort of marine biologist for 50 years, I think. Yeah.
So they used this, it was literally it was in the back of a magazine. So you're thinking about the 60s, it was literally a little single LP in a very flimsy piece that you could put onto a record player. Record player?
Yes.
You got one of them, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
and you could, and they took the music off that and then dubbed it and played about with it and what have you. Hence where DJ Sam Field got involved. And then the film was about that and how he then built that up and did something to it and played it in a gig
festival, really DJ kind of,
Yeah, but I'd actually read about. So part of this film was Nan House explaining about the experience that she had with this humpback whale.
Yes.
That the humpback whale, she was on a surfboard doing some pictures, and the whale, she believes in non-touching,
which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whale kept coming up to her and pushing her down and tried to hold her under its
fin.
Yeah. And she was like, well, I don't understand it. Why is it doing it? Well, she didn't know there was a massive, great big tiger shark the other side of the whale.
Yeah, so the whale was protecting her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pushing her towards the boat as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you think how incredible that
amazing,
is.
Aren't they? Just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. But she also mentioned that she's been studying whales and their song and how, she's almost got to see the regularity of the different songs, and they have a different song kind of each year.
Yeah.
So she would be an amazing guest as well.
She would actually. Yeah, I liked her. Yeah, I thought that was quite clever. Then there was the Call of the Cold,
based in Iceland.
Yeah. So where the two guys, they went free diving in sulphur, which did look amazing. That looks amazing. And then they went paddleboarding at different parts of the island. Which looked really good, actually. Some of the photography looked amazing.
And the ice climbing in the glacier. That was
some of the
stunning.
drone work was amazing in that.
Yeah, but it was just three guys just on sort of in Iceland being very outdoorsy. And that was... And again, you saw bits of Iceland.
I think that's definitely on my to-do list.
It's an incredible landscape, So that was Iceland, and then we moved to warmer seas to talk.
Yeah, Tess Felix.
Yes, so she is an artist.
Portrait of an artist, based in California, and so she basically saw all this plastic being washed up and thought, what can I do? What am I going to do with all that? And didn't want to just bin it and what have you. Just wanted to make something of it. So being an artist, she started making portraits,
and they were incredible, weren't they? So she got one there, and I think there were people involved in the marine conservation world, so she was doing one of Sylvia Earle, but the amount of plastic that she even had people bringing her plastic as well.
Some of the stuff, the plastic that she'd found was like potentially 40-50 years old. Some of the stuff, and
rather than it be floating, it was stuff from the seabed. So again, that highlighted the dramatic amount of plastic in the water.
Next up was Metropolis with Reef City. So that was a good film about a reef, and I'm not sure where the reef was.
No,
but it's tropical. It was like either Red Sea or...
It was quite comical, wasn't it? Because it started with the start of the day, the fish waking up, and then went through like the feeding
Basically
stations,
their day,
yeah, and then into the night and the nocturnal activities. But it really showed there were octopus,
how it changes colour and everything.
Yeah, and there was another fish that actually changed its body shape.
Oh, the puffer fishes.
Yeah, something they just remoulded themselves into. Yeah, so that was really interesting, and quite great to see all the colourful fish.
It was. So that was the Ocean Film Festival.
Yeah.
And I think I can't recommend it enough. It's definitely worth going.
Yeah, definitely be on the plan for next year.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to the mountain one as well.
Yes,
I think that would be
we might do that.
very interesting.
Yeah. Well, we've got some other things to mention as well before we get our guest on. I see Shaf, he's been talking about, he's got a new record coming up, which is pretty amazing, I have to say.
Not a record you play. It's a
record. No. So Shaf last year did a Ocean 650, was out in the Maldives, okay. If you look up Shaf Naheem, SHAFFNAEEM, look him up. He is looking at doing a new record next year. I think in February. So not all that far away. Let's have a look. In February 2025, 2 dives a day, 3 hours each on a diver propulsion vehicle, okay, doing an average of 10 to 12 kilometres per dive.
Underwater.
And what he wants to do is do that over the course of a month and do clock up 460 kilometres, which is pretty amazing.
He does like his extreme records, doesn't he?
Well, it is, and I think it's quite interesting on various points, really, because, mentally that's a tough one to do. Physically is a tough one to do. You imagine clocking up 10 to 12 kilometres per dive. That's a long way.
Yeah.
That's like 10 or 12 kilometres.
Well, we've just run this morning, haven't we? 3K.
Yeah.
So it's 4 or 5 times that.
I like your maths. That's good. That's good for you. That's good. I like it.
I'm just bringing it in perspective.
Yeah, but it's true. I like it. No. Thanks for that. So, so look him up. Make sure you're following him. Support his record, and he's looking for partners as well to help support. And we wish him good luck with that, because I think that's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, well, we'll give you an update as and when it happens. And,
in 2022, I can't believe it's 2022, he completed a 50-hour dive underwater.
Yes.
Remember? And he had a full face mask on as well.
And we have spoken to Shaf very, very near the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, it was a long while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ex-Special Forces, done a lot of diving.
Yeah, he's a Fourth Element ambassador.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah.
And new father, I believe.
I think he's got 2 little ones now.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So time flies.
It does.
What else have we got coming up? The Baltic Tech Conference that happens on the 23rd and 24th of November. So one of our previous guests again, Lee Bishop. He's promoting that at the moment. So have a look. It's all over Facebook. They've got a lot of speakers as well. So I think that will be an interesting one to watch. And then another big event is DEMA at Las Vegas.
I can't believe how that quick that's come
That's happening
again.
on the 19th of November 2024, which to us is a couple of days' time. So all the main names are winging their way off to Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So if you're there, have fun, and we hope it all goes well.
Yeah.
With both of those.
Yeah, we'll go to DEMA one day, I'm sure, when it's.
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah.
Because it moves around the US, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Sometimes that's...
It was in the deep south last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then
Las
sometimes
Vegas.
it's Las Vegas.
And then when it's in California, is it California or Florida?
Florida.
Yeah, so that might be the time to go.
No, America's such a big country, isn't it? That's what I think that's why they move it around.
Yep, so that is, I think, everything. We've carried on keeping our dive fitness up through the last couple of weeks, haven't we?
Lots of crossfitting, running, swimming.
Yeah. Saunering.
Dieting, trying.
Yeah, so it is really important to keep up your dive fitness over the winter if you're not diving, so that you're ready to jump in the water and all ready to go, all guns blazing.
Yeah, and also for newbies who follow us, I would say over the winter, if you're not getting in the water, because once you get to the end of the year, and the rule in the UK I'm talking about, at least, if you're in the UK and you're not particularly keen on the cold temperatures, then fine, fair enough. Do speak to your dive centre if they've got access to a pool. Keep your dive skills afresh. Book some time in with a dive master or instructor and just say, hey, you ought to practice some skills, or your buddy, and just run through the, clearing mass, out of air scenarios, anything you want to practice.
SMB deploying.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Can you unravel and send up your SMB while being buoyant in the pool? If you've got 3 meters, you should be able to do it.
Yeah. So that's what we'll
just practicing your buoyancy is a good thing.
Yeah, we'll be, well, hopefully back at Stony Cove in the next few weeks, and then we'll just see how the weather shapes up January, February. Yeah,
well, last year I think it was more the exception. The water temperature for we'll say Stony was 9 degrees. Usually it drops down a lot lower than that, but last year it was 9 degrees, which is doable, quite easily. So in a dry suit and the right thermals and things.
Yeah, and I think the year before we were at Gildy, weren't we?
The visibility gets really good as well.
Well, it's definitely improved, hasn't it, in the last few weeks.
So it's all in the hands of the weather. But, if in doubt, speak to your local dive centre, whoever they are, and just make sure you're keeping your skills fresh. It's also a good time to, speak to either the dive centres or manufacturers if you're thinking about getting your dry suit serviced after Christmas. They get really busy. I know O3 do after Christmas. So be speaking to them if you're thinking about getting your dry suit service. Get your regs in over the winter as well.
Even your BCD needs a service every so often.
A lot of people forget about getting your BCD service. Why do you need to get it serviced? Well, there's moving parts and all sorts.
Yes.
So you should get it serviced.
Yeah. So let us know what you're doing.
And it keeps you alive. So why would you not get
it's important.
Why would you not get it serviced?
Yeah. So I think that covers everything we've been up to, hasn't it?
I think it does.
So I think we should get our guest on.
Yes.
And so this is episode 191.
I thought he was going to make me pronounce her name then. I thought.
And it is Aniela Martin, and she talks about her scuba diving and her career.
I knew that.
Hi, I'm Aniela Martin. I'm a scuba diver and oceanographer, and you're listening to the BiG Scuba podcast.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you on the BiG Scuba podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So you're based in Italy at the moment, is that right?
Yes, I've been living in Italy for over 6 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a little bit warmer than the UK, for sure.
What part of Italy?
I'm in Naples.
Oh, very nice. Excellent.
Yeah. So I originally moved out here while I was doing summer seasons out here as a dive master during university.
Yeah.
And then I decided to stay long term after I started my career working offshore. So it's been
cool.
It's been an interesting journey and something that wasn't really planned, but everything sort of fell into place.
Yeah,
well, that's how life goes sometimes.
It is. Yeah. So, how did your scuba journey start?
So, I was on a family holiday. I think I was 17 years old, and I finished school, and I wasn't really sure what to do next, which path to take. And we were on holiday in Egypt, and my father, who travels a lot, he'd done some scuba diving before on his travels, and he decided that he wanted to introduce me and my siblings to it. So off we went in Sharm el-Sheikh, and it was fantastic. The first time I put my head underwater, I just fell in love, and I knew that was what I wanted to do. I was just completely amazed by all the colors of the fish and the corals, and it's like being a guest in a world that's not yours. And the fact that you can breathe underwater, which is biologically not possible for humans, but we found a way to do it. And I just find that fascinating, really fascinating. So that kicked off my journey, actually. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go to university and I'm going to study natural sciences. And I went on to study oceanography. During which time I was traveling in the summer breaks, and stumbled across a dive master internship.
Wow.
Somebody offered me, they said, "Oh, we're looking for a dive master." At that point, I didn't know how you might be able to get into the professional world of diving. So it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. So I spent a couple of summers working as a dive master.
Yeah. Good experience.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I was working in Kefalonia in Greece.
Wow.
Nice.
And then over here in Naples, in Sorrento, actually. So it's not tropical coral reefs and loads of colorful fish, but really, really interesting all the same. Lots of shipwrecks. But one of the things that fascinates me most about the underwater world are the little critters. We have to go and look in all the nooks and crannies for these tiny little animals that might be camouflaged. And the things that live underwater are really strange. Not really things that we see on the land. And
no, some are almost alien-like. When
exactly.
see all these tiny things that can do amazing. Well, even octopus just change color, and you think we can't change color.
They're fantastic, and they're the structure of their skin as well. They can completely camouflage themselves, make themselves look like rock. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is incredible. So when you were at university, did you have to learn to dive because you were doing the science, marine science, that kind of subject, or is that something that you just did outside of your course?
Yes, we did. I already had my open water at the time, but everybody else went off to get their open waters for a trip down to Borneo that we did, which was stunning. But they all learned in, I can't remember the name of the quarry, in somewhere near Birmingham, maybe, in freezing cold water.
Stony Cove.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was January when they did their open water, so very, very chilly. Not everybody was convinced at that point.
No, and that's definitely dry suit diving weather.
Yes, definitely. I've never dived in the UK, actually. I'm cold water shy.
No, you can dive in the UK summertime. It's really good.
Yeah, you do a lot of diving in the UK, right?
Yeah, that's you don't need to go deep, and wetsuit, 5 mil wetsuit, you'll be fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you dived with your dad?
Yes, he actually came out to visit me in Naples when I was working there.
That's good that he done that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a huge honor. Taking the person for a dive that introduced me to that world.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, amazing. So, oh well, maybe one day you'll dive in the UK.
Yes, I've heard Scotland's beautiful for diving.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, some lovely dives up there, and you got the locks, saltwater locks, freshwater locks, and they all offer something different, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't think we've spoken to anybody that's actually spoke about diving around Italy, have we?
No,
really?
not come to mind.
No, it's never kind of, I suppose we don't know it as a diving destination. We hear about people talking about Malta and maybe Spain and the Canary Islands, but so has Italy got quite a vibrant scuba community?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because Italy is something like 90% coastline, compared to the surface area of the actual country.
Yeah.
And there are lots and lots of marine protected areas.
That's really good.
To preserve the biodiversity in that place. Fishing's not allowed. Human activity, the boats and things are very restricted. And also diving, you have to apply for permits to be able to go and dive in some of these places. But they're stunning. Stunning.
Well, that's really good to hear.
I would have thought there's quite a few wrecks out that way as well.
I think so. I haven't personally seen any around this area. But maybe on the Adriatic side, or maybe down in the south. Greece has a lot of wrecks.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of history around that way, so I would have thought there's some, especially over that side, as you say. So, what does being underwater mean to you?
Oh, being underwater. For me, it's kind of a meditation. All the noise and all the stress of everyday life, as soon as you put your head underwater, that all goes away, and it's just you and your bubbles. and you're weightless. It's fantastic.
It's like flying, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So for me, it's not so much going scuba diving to look at all the pretty fish, and sure, that's a huge plus, but just it's like an escape.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's like your own world, I guess, isn't it? Because you can't talk to anybody. It's just
Yes.
you're there with your thoughts, and that's kind of it.
And you free dive as well, don't you?
Yes, I do a bit, but I'm not like competitive, if you like. I'm not interested in going down to
Yeah,
crazy depths, but just it's even more free,
yeah,
if you know what I mean, because you haven't got all this big clumpy equipment that you have for scuba diving. It's just you and your fins, and you just try and stay there as long as you want. And because you're not creating any bubbles, the fish are less scared of you, so they'll come
yeah.
closer and have a look.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that must be good. And yeah, we've yet to try free diving, haven't we? So
Yeah.
something, that's on the list to do, definitely. And I think it probably complements scuba diving in some ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can do it in your surface interval. If you haven't had enough of the water yet, you get back on the boat, get rid of your equipment, and get back in again.
Yeah. So when did you last dive?
Um, it was back in September. I was in Indonesia traveling with a friend,
All right, nice.
Wow.
and very nice diving over
I
there.
bet.
We went over to this little island called Gili Trawangan, which is just off the northeast coast of Lombok Island.
Okay.
And these are tiny, tiny island. It's 2 kilometers by 3, but the coral reefs there are some of the best preserved I've seen. Really, really wonderful.
Yeah. And do you see quite a lot of sea life, or is it more the tiny critters that you see on the reef there?
Oh no, there were plenty of reef fish and turtles, really, really big turtles, which was really cool. And they're not scared of people. They come and swim next to you.
Yeah.
Yes. So I specifically asked the instructor to take me out to a dive site where we'd have a good chance of seeing sharks.
Yeah.
Because in over 10 years of diving and something like 300 dives, I've never seen a shark.
Wow.
And we didn't see any sharks that day.
Oh no.
Oh well, that's good to see different environments to for scuba diving. Have you dived anywhere else in the world?
Quite a lot of places. I've done the Caribbean, the Canary Islands, Borneo. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's the Canary Islands like to dive?
It's pretty cold, and there's not much going on in terms of life, but they had some nice rays.
Yeah. Is there a good viz there?
I think it was average, if I remember well. It was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
I've heard different stories sort of around that way, where I think about the visibility and diving around that way. And some people have said that's not particularly good for visibility, and because I think it depends on what, because it's so exposed there into the Atlantic, isn't it?
Yes. It's a bit chilly as well for that reason.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So in terms of sort of the career path, so you're a hydrographic surveyor now.
Yes.
So how did that kind of pan out from university? Did you think that you wanted to link scuba diving to a career path?
It was an idea at the beginning, but finding a career in scuba diving that's more scientific is pretty difficult and often requires you you have to get commercial diver's license, and you often dive to depths which are beyond which I'm willing to go, let's say. So no, I always wanted to do like a practical job that was researching something, but with more practical applications than sitting in a laboratory doing lots of different experiments and then writing about it. I wanted hands-on in the industry. So I'd actually found out more or less about this job when I was searching for my master's course to do, because there's a specific course for this job, which I didn't end up doing. I took oceanography instead, which was a lot more rounded as a course.
Yeah.
So I didn't come into this work straight after university. When I moved out to Naples, I ended up teaching English for a few
Yeah.
years. Um, Obviously, if you're in a foreign country, it's difficult to enter the professional world of work if you don't speak the local language. So I used those 3 years to learn Italian,
Yeah.
and then I came across this job. But it's also difficult because you don't always know what that job is called. You don't know what title to type into the search bar to get it. You know the tasks involved that you would like to do.
Yeah.
The title isn't always obvious.
Yeah.
No, I suppose it's not really, because I get what you're saying with that, because I'm not sure how I would Google or go on these Facebook groups for jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is why I think university careers days are really, really important to go and speak to people from the industry there. And then they can give you an idea of the things that you should search for. You tell them your interests. I would like to do this, this, and this. Okay, maybe you can look at this, evaluate this job. I think that would suit what you're looking for.
What, people came onto the campus to talk to you about different jobs?
Yeah. We have careers days, and representatives from lots of different companies come in, and they have a little stand, and they'll tell you about the kind of work they do, the industry that they're involved in, and what they're looking for in candidates. But you can also ask them what they expect. What you can expect from the job as well.
Yeah. Well, it's useful, isn't it? Because sometimes, you can go to university, do a course, and then think, what do I do next? It's just
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't give you a list of jobs that you can do. Now you have this qualification, you can do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
You really have to do a lot of research about it.
Yeah, it's probably quite daunting as well, isn't it? Knowing that you've got that qualification, but how do you use it?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So the job that you're in now is, so you work on a vessel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I work on offshore vessels, so they're fairly big, about 100 meters long, and we work in outside the 12 nautical mile zone in a crew of about 40 people.
Okay.
It's really interesting working as part of a big team. We've got people from lots of different backgrounds. We have geologists, we have engineers, we have pilot technicians, and I'll come on to what a pilot technician is in a bit, because it doesn't seem an obvious thing to have on a ship.
Yeah. So was it quite a transition going from kind of being land-based to now having work kind of periodically on vessels with different people and a team?
It definitely shakes up your life a little bit, and it does take some time to get used to, for sure. There are sacrifices to be made, but the rewards are definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So in terms of your kind of passion for the underwater world, can you kind of see that when you're at your work, in your work time as well, doing your surveying?
Yes. So what this job does for me personally is satisfies a huge curiosity of what is down there. So I was talking about these pilot techs before, and so these are personnel on the ship who are piloting something that we call an ROV. So if you're not familiar with that term, it's a remotely operated vehicle.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of sub that we can send down. It dives down to depths way beyond human capabilities. We're talking thousands of meters, if possible, and onto which we mount all of our sensors to create images of the seabed.
Yeah. What, 3D images?
Yes, we create 3D images of the seabed, and there are other sensors that can tell you the composition of the seabed material and also the subsea floor geology.
Wow.
So who's using that information? Is it like oil and gas people then?
It can be. The company that I'm working for is mainly involved in green energy installations, so wind farms and cables, also telecommunications.
Yeah.
But there are many, sorry. many different applications, such as charting, so just simply mapping the seabed, identification of hazards, tsunami risk assessments. So it's important to understand the morphology of the seabed in that case, and also ecosystem monitoring.
Yeah,
because that's quite volcanic out that way, isn't it, as well?
It is, yeah.
Especially down on the south. So the seabed must be quite interesting for that point of view as well.
Yeah, the Tyrrhenian Sea is very interesting. There's lots of sea mounts. You've got the islands with Stromboli. I think they're the Aeolian Islands. So they were sea mounts that have kept erupting, and they've created islands, but there are lots and lots still under the sea.
Wow.
That are active volcanoes that haven't yet made it to the surface.
And I suppose when they lay in these lines, do they then use that information to then try and avoid these things? Because I suppose they don't want to lay a line on something that's potentially going to go boom, is it?
I suppose so, yes.
Because some of this stuff is still alive and it's still erupting under on the sea floor.
Oh, Italy is a very active volcanic region.
Yeah.
Very, very active.
This episode is brought to you by Narked at 90, the cutting-edge pioneers in the world of diving equipment. Meet the founders, John Routley and Brent Hudson, who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives over the past 3 decades. About 20 years ago, these experienced technical divers combined their passion for diving and engineering skills to create Narked at 90. Whether you're new to diving and ready to take it up a notch, have a fair amount of experience, or are considering a transition into technical diving, we highly recommend Narked at 90. They're ready to advise on the best equipment and setup for your personal and commercial needs. Narked at 90 also has extensive hands-on experience with shearwater and ratio dive computers, being the longest-serving UK service centre for these brands. They're ready to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades for all shearwater and ratio computers past and present. In addition to shearwater and ratio, Narked at 90 stocks and supports many other brands such as DiveSoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss rebreathers. The diving community is always enthusiastic about Narked at 90, and it's easy to see why. Here are just a few reasons. Full head servicing for rebreathers from various manufacturers, bespoke cable assemblies, advice on specific fitting requirements, suggestions and guidance for home builds, computer laser cutting and engraving, CNC milling and turning, pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives. We're thrilled to partner with Narked at 90, a company that has ignited so much passion for diving and has been incredibly supportive and innovative in producing and selling dive equipment. Visit narkedat90.com to see why they're a renowned name in diving. Stay updated on their insights and offers by following them on social media. Just search for Narked at 90 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and hit that follow button. And isn't the Mediterranean Sea quite deep? Is it like 3,000 metres?
I think the deepest point of the Mediterranean is just over 5,000 meters, and it's over in the, I can't remember, the southeast of Greece.
Yeah, that's amazing,
isn't it? A long way.
Yeah.
That is, a long way down.
Yeah, so do your ROVs have cameras on so that you would see any potential marine life?
Yes, they do, and that's why it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because we get to see what's down there as well. Any marine life, any fish. I have to say, after about 700 meters, there's not really much at all. It's very quiet down there. But I have seen some very strange animals. One in particular is the rough-nosed shark. I don't know if you've come across that. Rough-nose.
I've not heard of that.
No.
Yeah, it's like a little stubby shark. He's not very long at all, maybe half a meter sort of maximum. And he doesn't have a long pointy snout like most sharks do. It's short and round and kind of like a pig snout.
Really?
He's a very funny looking little thing. He's very stocky and chubby.
Yeah. And you don't think about the Mediterranean and sharks even.
No, but in fact sharks are in all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting to think that. And, from a scuba diving point of view, being, like you are a scuba diver, having that access to something that is unreachable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the military use these as well, don't they? When they bring in new boats, and especially for larger boats, they often use the high. Because some of this stuff, the charts are quite old.
Yes. And also not to a very high resolution. So we're talking accuracy within meters. Now we have technology that gives us the capability to get data, record data within centimeters of
Yeah.
accuracy.
So if you scan something and you can't tell what it is from the scan, what happens then?
You mean in terms of morphology of the seabed?
Yeah, so say when you send these ROVs down and
Yeah.
they've got scanners on, and I presume are they like towed behind the boat?
They are connected to the boat by a tether, yes.
Yeah. So when you see a scan and you think, well, there's something there, we don't know what it is, that what happens then? What goes on?
So we might go and do a more detailed survey.
Yeah.
We might even go and try and see what it is with the cameras. Often, if we're just recording the seabed morphology, we fly this ROV quite high, around 20 meters above the seabed, maybe even more. And sometimes the scanner can be mounted on the ship itself, so you wouldn't see what's down there.
Yeah.
So you just go in and do a higher resolution survey, maybe get the cameras in there. It could be a potential shipwreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to have, I suppose, wrecks there that are not charted, and I suppose you could be, the first person to see a wreck, which is, probably haven't been seen for a long, long time.
Yes, I've heard of that happening.
Yeah, I bet.
I haven't seen one personally, but
Yeah.
yes, it does happen. It would be amazing to
So
come across.
you'd have somebody flying the ROV, and then you're next to them watching the scans.
Yes, so my responsibility is QC of the data as it's coming in real time and positioning. So I essentially communicate with the bridge crew of the vessel and
Right.
the ROV pilots, and I tell them where they have to go and sort of how fast. And
Left a bit more.
yeah, left a bit. Go back there, spin around.
Horse like, what's that? Stop.
Nice.
Stop, go look at that.
Send the captain in circles. What's that
Yeah,
boat doing? Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it must be really interesting
I'd
because you
say.
never know what you're going to find.
absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the other perks of it as well is that we work as an international team and we don't just work with Italian people or people who are local to that country that we're working in that particular time. Personnel come from all over the world.
Mm.
So while you're doing your job, which is really interesting, you're also getting to meet people and understand different cultures. They might teach you some of their language,
Yeah.
which is really, really interesting as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just there's all nationalities on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it always a different kind of crew? You could be working with different personnel as a crew change each time you go out on the vessel.
Yes, it can happen.
Mm.
But the offshore world isn't quite so big. So before long, you'll always end up working with the same people again,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is nice because if you get along really well with somebody, um, on one side, you don't know how long it's going to be before you see them again, but
Yeah.
it's great when you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the offshore industry and being on a vessel, what's the environment like? Is it quite male dominated or is it's more of a equal mix now? Because in the past it has been very male dominated.
It's still very, very much male dominated.
Mm.
But there are more women entering the industry, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Really good. Each year, more people come on board, more women come on board. And I've also recently seen female deck officer apprentices, so ship's crew apprentices, which I think is even rarer to see. And I think what's helped that along is the advent of things like Wi-Fi and our connection to the outside world on a ship.
Why is that?
Because you have to think 10, 20 years ago, when we didn't have Wi-Fi, or especially not mobile Wi-Fi that you could have anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
People were allowed one phone call home a week with a satellite phone, and just for 10 minutes to say, "Hi, family, I'm still here. Speak to you soon."
So basically, it's easier for them to keep in contact, you mean?
Yes.
Right.
I think us women, we're a lot more connected, not connected. We rely a lot more on our family support bubble and our friends outside. Men perhaps are a little bit more independent, maybe. So would you agree with that, Ian?
I don't know. It's like, I think men can be, I think men are probably, I get where you're coming from with it. I think maybe some men are maybe of a certain age, probably, maybe. I think younger ones, young guys coming through are probably more family orientated, maybe.
Maybe a bit more of a changing world now, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But I think probably going back, years and years offshore, like the gas and the oil industry was very male dominated.
But I suppose they have to, cater for everybody now, don't they? So, and have, facilities for all.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't feel, what's the term that I could use? I don't feel sort of an outsider being a woman. I still feel very much part of the team. I don't feel like there's a gender divide.
Good.
In the work that we do, or at least the team that I'm working in.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, and it's good to hear there are more women coming into the industry, and it's like people like you that hopefully will inspire more to think about their university career, and then where it can lead as well.
I sincerely hope so. It's a great adventure. We get to travel to places all around the world, meet lots and lots of different people.
Did you ever wanted to take your diving further on the professional side of things and go become an instructor?
It's funny you say that, because I've been thinking of that recently after my trip to Indonesia.
And what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I would love to become an instructor, but I don't think that I would leave my job offshore to do instructor.
I don't think you need to.
No, I would juggle both of them, or at least try.
But why do you want to be an instructor?
Because, first of all, when it's your passion, one of the most beautiful things about having a passion is being able to share it with others. So if you can convey that onto other people, and some of the clients or students that I love the most are ones that are really, really nervous. Because you can just...
But can't you do that as a dive master?
Sorry?
Why can't you do that as a dive master?
It's not quite as easy to find work as a dive master, unfortunately.
It's not.
No. You're much preferred as an instructor, so I believe.
Right, okay.
And you've probably got more influence as an instructor as well, whereas a dive master, you're at the instructor's kind of mercy, I suppose, in some cases, helping.
Well, you're there, bitch.
You're helping behind.
You are.
So, but as
I'm a dive master, so that's why I say that.
But yeah, it would be great, to follow an instructor path. Even when you're onshore, it's something extra to do, isn't it? And, like you say, that's a brilliant thing, sharing your passion and passing on, especially to the people that you can sense that have got that nervousness or trepidation about their starting their diving journey, or wherever they are in it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, are you working in the UK as a dive master, Ian, or did you just take your studies to that level for your own interest, let's say?
Um, yeah, to tell the truth, I really enjoyed doing some courses as a just as a diver, and then going to doing some diving with various people. And then people said to me about this role as a dive master, and I was like, okay, I quite like that idea, and I enjoy learning. I'm not very good with books, to be honest. I don't have that type of head where I can sit an hour for hours and plow through books. But I like to learn. I like to, and I still do. I like to increase skills, and I quite like the dive master role because it's for various reasons. One, I think it's really nice that you can bridge that gap between instructor and student. Um, and I don't have the time to um, learn at the moment, being an instructor, because I think to go up and take that next role, you've got to be dedicated to that role. And put that time in because you want to be the best instructor you can, as you said. You want to be able to, you engage with people and say, hey, this is a really great sport. This is a real amazing thing we can do. And, you get them people and see that joy on their faces and all that. And I think that'd be really cool. And I think I've seen where some people just go up to be an instructor to do the course. And to me, that's the wrong way, wrong reasons to be an instructor. What you've said is the right thing. That's
Mm.
the right reasons to be an instructor. So I think the DM role is a really good way of, having that input without having that responsibility at the moment.
Yes.
And it's that first rung on the ladder of being, a professional route.
Mm.
Um, so I think it is, I would say to anyone, if they're once they get to that certain level and they're like, what do I do with diving? Do I do commercial? Do I do something else? I think it's a good way of moving your diving on a bit, really. Once you're ready, you know,
Mm.
Absolutely, yes. You have to be ready for it because it is a lot of responsibility, even as a dive
definitely.
master. Um, but it's still a lot of fun.
It is.
I've had some instructors tell me, don't do it because you stop doing the fun diving.
True. It's true.
Instead of
Yeah,
doing
and
the
that as well.
exercises in the pool all day long, you are taking the advanced open waters to visit a wreck at 30 meters down.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in the diving world, and you could get into this big debate about how agencies pay for their instructors and dive masters and everything else. But unfortunately, the way it is at the moment, there isn't much money in being an instructor or a dive master or anything else. And you do it very much for the love of the sport and for what you want to do.
Mm.
Hence why, if you do it, you probably wouldn't want to give up your day job because why would you?
Absolutely. Yes, you have to do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, sorry. Not everybody has the opportunity to do both things, though. I mean, I would say you're very lucky, and I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to um, have being a dive master part of our lives
yeah,
Mm.
and being able to share that with other people rather than just having to visit dive centers every time you want to dive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to guide people and you can take them to your favorite spots. And oh, yesterday I saw an octopus in here, so let's see if he's still here.
Yeah.
And go on,
Well, I
Gemma.
was just going to say that's the whole thing about diving. It's got to be lots of fun to keep people going back underwater as well. And that's the gift of instructors as well, making it fun to give that or passing that passion on. That kind of it's like an infection, and really good in infectious like need to get underwater and just have fun and come out of the water smiling, that is the best thing that you can achieve, I think, probably as an instructor or dive master or anybody. Yeah, sort of.
Absolutely. Have you ever been able to convince a very skeptical or scared friend to come diving, and they've ended up loving it and then done their open water and subsequent courses maybe?
I think you see people try it, don't you? And
Yeah,
well, look at Honey, Ian's daughter. She
yeah.
took those days, and look at her enthusiasm now, like waving at the fish and being underwater, and it's seeing that kind of progression.
It is, and I think we see kids. We had quite a few kids come through this year, learn, and it is tough for them because, especially when learning in the UK, because you've most of the time the kids like Honey was learning in dry suits. They got all this weight. They got 10 kilos, and you got the tank on the back, and they don't know. They're not used to that.
No.
And
Yeah,
then,
very heavy.
it is, we forget that where in some of the summer, the warmer climes, they've got nice wetsuit, and, it's nice and easy, and they don't have all the weight, and they've got lovely visibility. And sometimes our conditions is pretty tough going. And I feel for them sometimes because, they're taking the mask off and it's only about 12 degrees, and and it's murky, it's dark, and these kids who are 12, 14, and they're doing it, and you think, wow, do you know what, that's well done, because that it
Yeah.
is tough, and it's a tough weekend to learn. There's 4 or 5 dives all over 2 days. And especially if you take Stoney's a great place to learn in the UK. And but it's a tough place to go learn because you've got not just the diving, you got the walk to the quay, and you see the kids, and that they do it
Yeah.
somehow. They do it.
It's character building though, isn't it? And
It
because,
is.
and then like you've said, they come out saying, can we go in again? And
They
you think,
do.
well, you've achieved, that's an achievement in itself because they're keen and they're passionate about getting back in and having some fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
One kid said to me, he said, "Oh, I've had an amazing day." And you think, "Do you know what? That's brilliant." And the tough thing about it is then keeping that love and keeping that passion going in their dive. When we were talking to somebody just on Wednesday night, we went to the Ocean Film Festival,
Yeah.
and we were talking to a couple of people from Norwich about the farms. And one of the dives that we did up there this year with Honey was about 5 meters. The water was crystal clear. It was cold. It was chilly. But the floor, as you said, was absolutely alive of all these critters and weird looking things and hermit crabs, lobsters, you name it, anemones. And they're like all going mad because you shined a torch at them. They go, oh,
Really?
and it's awesome. The whole floor comes alive. And, honeys just go, whoa, this is great, and waving at fish.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see,
Yeah, and this is only like 5-10 meters, and you don't need to go deep and dark. And that's maybe something that's got to be conveyed to people. You don't need to have depth to have fun diving.
But it's something for everybody, isn't it?
It is,
And
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
and some people in the diving world love their wrecks. Some people love cave diving, and some people love seeing the big mammals and seeing them down at deep. And we also need our explorers,
mm, yeah,
and seeing what's around the next corner.
yeah. Bit like you are
Yeah.
underwater with your
In the underwater
ROVs.
world, it offers something for everybody.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. As you said, whether it's pushing yourself to your limits and diving down to 100 meters, or exploring underwater caves and caverns, or just going to see what kind of marine life you can find there.
Mm,
Yeah,
Obviously, diving all around the world, you've got different ecosystems. There are different critters and fish and things to see. The geology is different as well. You know, some places you've got sandy seabed, some places you've got the coral reefs, other
Yeah.
places it's more rocky.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's technology going to be, as technology comes on, and I guess things like AI comes in, how will that affect your role?
I don't want to think about it, honestly.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be a good thing.
Yes, they we already have not who I work for, but in the world there are things called AUVs, which are these submersibles. They're not quite the same as the ROVs that we use,
Right.
um, but they're autonomous underwater vehicles. So you can program them and release them into the sea, and
Mm.
they'll go off and do all their scanning, and then they'll pop back up to the surface. You pick them up and download all the data. So it does exist at the moment. I don't know how far it can go in terms of taking over everything. For sure, AI might help in the processing of data. It could shorten the time taken to process things, stitch images together. Because at the moment, the specialists on that side of things
Mm.
have to do everything manually. Everything needs to be adjusted. And there's also interpretation of the data. So our geologists are creating reports for the clients, and they will say what kind of sediment or what kind of rock this is, which I don't know to what level AI would be able to do that.
Mm.
But definitely perhaps in the navigation side of things,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
could be more applications.
Yeah, it's definitely on the horizon, isn't it? Well, it's with us now, but it's just how it kind of evolves and
Mm.
becomes more entwined in our day-to-day
And
lives.
I suppose scanners will improve over time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. In the last 20 years, the quality of data that you've been able to get has improved tenfold. As I said
Yeah.
earlier, from meters of accuracy down to centimeters, maybe we'll get to millimeters or no error at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an exciting world to be in, isn't it?
Yes, it is, definitely.
Yeah.
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 So many factors to think of when you're getting this data as well, because our sensors are acoustic. They all work on acoustic frequencies. So we send sound waves basically down to the seabed, and depending on the sensor therefore will give us different information. But environmental factors can affect that. So it can be weathers, the currents, the temperature.
Mm.
We might also have some interference from the noise of the vessel, for example, because
Right.
that's all
So is
acoustic.
that similar to sonar?
Yes,
Mm.
yes, exactly. So, like you might have a sonar on your fishing boat, and that tells
Yeah.
you where the fish are, how deep it is. Yeah, ours is very, very similar. That you get a return, and it will tell you the strength of the signal
Oh, okay.
from there, or the distance, the time it takes to come back, and that will tell you the depth as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
groovy.
Every day must be different for you.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can. We have a saying offshore that boring is good. So when everything is going well, it's quiet, and you can have a cup of tea and chat to your colleague.
I'm sure I've seen that on a film somewhere where they say boring is good. Um, with Ryan Reynolds in.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that he says quite a lot on the film. We were watching it just the other day.
yeah.
That was,
Not Deadpool, is it?
no, it's something about the bodyguard's guardian or something like that. I'll
I'm
look
not
it
very
up.
good with films, sorry.
While I'm looking that
I
up,
couldn't tell you. But it's funny you should mention Ryan Reynolds, because he and Rob McElhenney, another actor, have recently bought the football club of my hometown. So
really? They
Yeah,
have, yeah.
of Wrexham. So
Wrexham.
it's
Wrexham,
been put
yes.
on the map. Nobody's ever heard of that place before, but now you've got Americans that go, wow, yeah, I know where that is. People from the other side of the world.
Yeah, because we live in Norfolk and there's a town called Wroxham. So it's only the O is different. And apparently recently there's been some confusion between Wrexham and Wroxham when all this football stuff happened.
Ah.
So
And his mate is a Norwich supporter because his mum comes from Norwich, who was in Deadpool 3. Who Grant, who,
no, not Hugh
Really?
not
Grant.
who Grant,
No,
Hugh Jackman.
that's
yes,
it. Yes.
yes. He's a big Norwich City supporter because of his mum as a Norwich. She's now in Australia, but
She originated from
he,
Norwich or lived
well,
in
yeah,
Norwich.
and he was actually born in Norwich.
Mm.
Wow, no way. I had no idea.
Yeah.
There we
There
go.
you go. Small world. All
Yeah.
these connections.
I can't find it. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. I can't find it now.
So in terms of your sort of working sort of hours, how long are you on the boat for? Is it a few weeks and then you're on shore for a few weeks, like free time? Is it how it works?
Yeah, so we usually work for a month. It
Mm.
could be less, it could be more, but it's usually we work on a 1 month rotation. So you're on for 4 weeks,
Yeah.
during which time you don't have a day off. We work 12 hours a day. The ship works 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So there are usually two of you on your position. You have a day shift and a night shift. So you're working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So it can be quite tiring, because your rest isn't always guaranteed. If it's a little bit wavy, and you're rocking about in bed, some people sleep lovely with that. Others, not so much. Or you have a noisy vessel. But yeah, when you go home, your time is all yours.
Yeah.
So you
That's
have a
good then.
month off and you have time to catch up on your sleep and see friends, travel as well.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest benefits of this is that you can concentrate on personal projects, things that maybe doing a 9 to 5 you wouldn't have time for, or you can dedicate a few hours of your weekend to.
Yeah.
Mm.
But when you have every single day, you can work on it and
Yeah.
you can see a lot more progress in a short time.
Like being a dive instructor.
Like
Yes.
being a dive instructor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
true though. I think it's worth committing yourself to and following that because I think that's it's a good role to do. I've got a film for you. So just to go back, found it.
Yeah.
It's called, if you haven't seen it yet, Gemma as well. It's a good film called The Hitman's Bodyguard.
The Hitman's Body. I'm gonna
And
write
they
that
and
down.
he and when you watch it, and he says it quite a bit, especially at the start. Boring is good.
We're in his
Man's bodyguard.
There you go. There's actually two, but the first one's a better one. So, and the other thing I was going to ask you actually, because we visited a place near Bristol called Deep. Now they bought a old dive site 2 or 3 years ago, which is known in the diving world as NDAC, right? But it's now part of the campus for Deep, who
Okay.
are building submersible places for scientists to go down on the seabed and work and
It's making
survey.
humans aquatic. That's kind of their strap line.
Called the
Yeah.
Sentinel.
Yeah.
Do you know about it? Do you follow them?
No, I've never heard of this actually. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. So what are they doing exactly? Their aim is to send humans down
Yeah, so
to
they're
depth.
building these great big like
Habitats, we call them.
underwater habitats,
Yeah.
yeah, which can go 100 meters down.
Yeah, and they're going to be sort of mounted on a platform, but they're not going to be permanently in the water. There's something that can be lifted out of the water by vessels and
Okay.
transported around the world. So
Yeah.
that's their kind of long-term view, but it's only for scientific purposes. It's not to do with, they're not going to be involved with gas or oil, are they? It's just
No.
purely for, the protection of the environment and the longevity of the environment and the marine environment.
Yeah, so they can drop one of these sentinels on the seabed down to 100 meters, and then they'll have umbilical cords with
Yeah.
air and communications and comms. So the scientists can then go out of the sentinels, I think 6 at a time, in different directions, and do all the research and everything else that they need
Yeah.
to do as well. Quite interesting. And they just bought Flip, which is the boat, which I think was built in the 60s, where it takes on water and then the boat flips up.
So it goes like that, and then it goes like that in the water.
Yeah,
I've read
yeah,
about that actually. Yes.
yeah,
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
So these scientists then will effectively live underwater for a certain amount of time.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay, so
they couldn't tell us exactly when we were there. It was a bit top secret, wasn't it? But they're going to have some means of taking them from the surface down, obviously in a submersible of some kind, dock it, and then obviously get them back to the surface. Yeah.
wow. Would you be interested in having a go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it'd be
100
awesome.
meters down.
Yeah.
Well, how would a human body cope with 100 meters
Well,
of
this is where it all gets
pressure?
interesting, because you got Dr. Deep, who we had on a while ago, and he's
Doc-
done,
Yeah.
what does he did
100 days, wasn't it, in a
100
habitat?
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Tory. He's known as Dr. Deep Sea. Yeah.
And
From
he shrunk.
He
in
shrunk.
height.
He shrunk, but I asked him the question, talking about how that would be for women. We know when with women's as they get older with their bone structures and stuff, and he said actually women handle it better.
Oh, wow.
It's
There
actually
you go, Gemma.
they're actually better.
Yeah, we'll be
Yeah,
deep sea explorers.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah, but it's it's been really interesting, for the length of time we've been doing the podcast, 4 years, and then to see something like Deep come on the scene with all this amazing work, and the people involved in it are so, high regarded in the diving industry and scientific world, that it's going to be amazing to see where we are in 5 years and 10 years time.
Dawn Kanagas,
Kirk
Bill
Crack.
Short, Kurt
Yeah.
Crack,
Yeah.
all there. And where it gets all sort of really interesting is it's the same science is what they're looking at for then going to space and further space travel and things like that, to like Mars. And we're tapping on the door of Mr. Elon Musk as well, aren't we?
Yes. In
Yeah.
fact,
Um,
I was going to say we're doing a lot of research into how we can build a livable environment on another planet, on Mars, and I think that's what Elon Musk is going for in the next few years. But
yeah,
we haven't tried that in the sea yet. Why not? It's
Mhm.
just here.
deep,
Yeah. Yeah. Look up Deep.
deep.com.
I'd live under the sea. You wake up in the morning, you've got the fish
Yeah.
sitting above your igloo habitat.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing because we saw these habitats. They've got like a mock-up, and they have these huge, like, round windows, and
Yeah,
it's almost like a theatre that you're looking out, and separate rooms for all the crew, and with windows. There's no like box as such. It was, yeah, just incredible, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's where our future should be going, not into space.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's so much of, again, space is explored to a certain point, but, like we all say, there's so much of the underwater world that we haven't explored at all. We haven't touched, we haven't reached. And for even exploration, but then medical science, there's so much there, all these resources.
Yeah.
The sea has everything. There's lots of research into using marine organisms in medicine.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and it's a well-known fact that the sea is less explored than space. We know more about space than we do of our own oceans.
Yeah.
Although Brian Cox Brian, someone said that to Brian Cox once, and he disagreed, and he said no. He said, and this I'm only repeating what Brian Cox said. He said if you look at the amount of encyclopedias based on the oceans, he said there's a lot more than there is in space. And that's Brian Cox's view. So, but I was totally in agreement with you, because I've always believed that as well.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's an exciting world to be in, connected to the, oceans and underwater world, isn't it? Because the future is so exciting. What's ahead? Yeah, yeah. So, and definitely a good industry to be in for, that purpose as well. So, do you see your future as it is, sort of going forward, that you're going to remain in the offshore underwater world?
I think so, yeah. I don't see me ever getting tired of the sea, the ocean, or going to sea.
Yeah.
I would like to see how technology progresses over the course of my career and the next few years. Because new technology is coming out all the time, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's exciting, isn't it?
One of the things that I dream about is being able to go and collect this data or this information firsthand. So
In a
perhaps going
submersible?
in a submersible like James Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Yeah. And I'm sure we fly to space, so why can't we fly to the depths of the ocean?
Do.
Absolutely.
If you're in one of the James Cameron sub, you can literally do to the bottom, can't you?
Yeah, he went to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 kilometers.
Yeah. Long
It's a
way down.
really, really long way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's quite incredible. Yeah. And it's just really exciting, isn't it? Just it's all the unknown. Yeah.
We spoke to Richard
Garriott.
Garriott, and he went down to the Mariana Trench, and he was saying about all the cables that are all down there because a load of other people have been down there with their ROVs, and they snipped the cables.
Because
So they
it's
got
such a huge length, they don't like reel them back in.
yeah
They just
Okay.
cut and there's all these swathes of, like he said, it was just like arcs of like
yeah
ROV cable that they had to navigate through. And obviously that's a hazard and an extreme danger, and it's naughty because, it's all like shouldn't happen
yeah.
because they should be taking that home.
I agreed. It is naughty. It
Yeah.
is.
And I suppose you must see like plastic waste and stuff like that in your role.
Yes, sometimes. Um, the Mediterranean is really bad for fishing gear.
Is
Mm.
it?
Yeah, because often the fishermen, if their net gets stuck or they just don't want to take it home, they just cut it and leave it. It's really bad.
Yeah. So
It's
you then
really
come across it on the seabed when you're doing your surveys, do you?
yeah,
Or
and that's a big hazard for us as well.
Yeah, I bet.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we
don't
can.
get your ROV stuck in a ghost net or something.
Yeah, it's never fun when that happens. Never fun.
Do you tag it? Do you like GRPRs tag it and let people know?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, do you sort of like tag the position of the fishing gear?
No, not really, because you don't know if it's floating.
Depends how
Mm.
deep it is, I suppose,
Yeah,
as well,
true.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's going to be a
yeah.
hazard
Yeah.
or not. Mm. Yeah.
To my
But
knowledge, I don't think there's anyone you can call to come and clear it.
not at
No,
depths like that.
no.
No. No, but it just remains a hazard underwater that we can't do anything, I suppose, as such about.
Well, eventually it'll be
Okay.
buried, I guess.
Mm.
I've personally rescued more than a few fish from fishing nets stuck on reefs and things in the past.
Yeah,
Mm.
So I really wish that people were a bit more responsible with their activities, in both in the sea and on land
yeah,
Mm.
as well.
yeah. It's a fair comment.
Yeah. That's why we need more of these marine protected areas, even if it's only for, a period of time. It gives time for these areas to get back to how they should be. And we've seen that in the UK, the various areas, and it's just been amazing the difference that happens when there's no fishing and it's a no take zone. It flourishes.
Yeah,
Yes, and I've seen that as well in certain parts of the world. Um, you can see where the overfishing is happening because
Mm.
you'll go down there and you'll be at a couple of 100 meters and it should be teeming with fish and there is nothing. Then you go to another place even part of the same sea.
Mm.
Okay, we're talking, and there's tons and tons and tons of fish. It's just in these particular areas, the fishermen are going and taking far more than they really should.
Yeah. And that's why as scuba divers, we're really important, because we get to see this and the people above don't. And that's why it's so important, just to have these eyes underwater sending this information back.
Exactly. Yeah, we need to have more advocates for our marine world and the conservation of it.
Yeah, we do. Divers, non-divers as well. It's so important. Yeah. Right, we better get on to some questions. Do you think?
We should.
Yeah. So all our guests, we always ask a couple of or 3 set questions and see what answers they come up with. So the first one is, if you could take 3 people underwater. They don't have to be divers. It's just the principle of taking them underwater. They can be past or present. Who would you take underwater?
Okay. I would take, the first person would be a world leader, any world leader, maybe even all of them.
All of them, yeah.
All of them, for the exact thing that we were talking about before, that people need to be able to see what's happening to our ecosystems to be able to understand the problem. If you're giving people statistics and numbers, that's it. That's it on a page, and it doesn't really mean anything. They have to go and see it. So if I could take them diving to some beautiful coral reefs in Borneo, maybe, look at this, it's teeming with color and it's beautiful, and then I take them to another part of the world where the coral's dying, dead, bleached, and suffering. So sooner or later, that what you saw before is going to become this, and we won't have this anymore. And maybe then they will do something.
Yeah.
Maybe then.
Yeah, that's good.
So my second person would be my best friend, because it's really nice to share your passion with people that you love, and you spend so much time talking about it, but if they don't do it, they can't understand. I don't think what you're really talking about, and you say, wow, yeah, so we did this amazing dive and I saw all these beautiful fish and nudibranchs and octopus, and there was also a cuttlefish, and they're like, okay, they've just seen it in a photo or on their plate.
No, but see it for real.
See it for real. And then they can understand. You're like, wow, actually, okay, now I understand everything that you were talking about in the past. That's nice.
Yeah.
And my third person would be Sylvia Earle. But rather than take her diving, I think it would be her taking me diving.
Nice.
I think she is honestly one of the most inspiring women on the planet. She's, a pioneer in the world of oceanography.
Yeah.
Especially for her time, there were really, really few women in the industry. And for her to become the first chief scientist of the NOAA in America is really an amazing thing. And these roles weren't really accepted to be women's roles, you see. So I'm sure she could teach me a thing or two. And somebody who shares the same passion.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, brilliant answers. Yeah.
Good. So what gets you out of your comfort zone?
I really enjoy putting myself out of my comfort zone. So those things would be traveling alone, I think, puts me out of my comfort zone. Trying new experiences that I wouldn't think that I would do. Let's say a friend invited me to try what's that sport called with the ribbons, and it's like gymnastics.
Where you throw them around and
no, you kind of like tangle yourself up in them, and it's all very pretty.
You suspend yourself in them, like a yoga thing. Is that what it's called? And you go upside down and put your
is it called the silks or something? I looked at that. It's great, but that's a broken neck for me.
It'll get me down.
So I went to try that. It was really fun, but I live with the belief that life begins outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely. Out of routine.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Well, we've not had that answer before. That's good.
No. Yeah.
So, you going to give it a go, Ian?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, anytime.
Any gymnastics?
You'll be very sore the
Yeah,
next
you
day.
know, I'm always doing gymnastics. You know me.
Few cartwheels here and there.
Oh yeah, every day. Who doesn't?
And then flaming hula hoops the next time.
Yeah, I can do the hula hoops. No problem.
Yeah, well, that's good, and I think probably that's a good answer. Yeah, just living outside your comfort zone.
Yeah,
there's always stuff to learn. Definitely.
Absolutely, it's the only way to really enrich your life.
Yeah,
never stop learning.
In situations where you're not comfortable, it forces you to find a solution. It forces you to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's great. That makes everything else easier in the future.
It does. And it's like you say, traveling alone, once you've done it once, you think, it's like easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, where to go to next? So no, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
And then our final question, if you had a billboard that you could put out there to the world, everybody in the world would see it. So it could be a video, it could be a saying, it could be an image. What would you put on your billboard and why?
Okay. I think I would have to have a billboard with the writing, "Follow your heart," in huge letters. Because as long as you're doing that, you're living your life with spice. You have the motivation to go and better yourself. And people can understand when you're doing things with love. I would say never do anything for money. Follow everything with your heart and do it for passion, and the other things always fall into place.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Living your life with spice. I
Live
like
your life. Yeah.
And don't overthink anything.
Yeah. And
it's true.
Yeah. And sometimes you've got to do it it's got to come from your heart, from yourself first, not for other people. And, and then from that you inspire other people.
Yes, exactly. It's conveying your passion to other people makes them like it as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And it's, that's the best way to do it, rather than a kind of dictatorship saying you must, or you will, or you have got to. It's kind of, the subtle approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah. Especially when it comes to your career. If you're putting your heart into it, the workload doesn't seem quite as much because you love what you're doing. Then it gives you the motivation to challenge yourself, to go and research more about your field.
Yeah, definitely. You never want to go to work and think it's boring.
Exactly.
My dad always wanted me to be an accountant. Now, I've got nothing wrong with the accountants, but I couldn't have ever been an accountant. And the thought of plowing through books was one of the biggest reasons why I'm not an accountant. And it's very true what you say, because you could go and do a job just for the money of it, I'm sure. But if you don't enjoy it, how long is that going to last?
No, and what's it going to do to you as a person if you don't enjoy it and don't have a passion?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, considering we spend such a lot of time at work, if you have to wake up every day thinking, I don't want to go in today, it's going to be awful. It's going to get you down. Who made the famous saying, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life?
Yeah,
it's true. That
it is very true.
Yeah.
And I know there probably are people that are in that position, but sometimes you just have to break the mold and go outside your comfort zone, and then you never know what you're going to discover.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was Gandhi that said that, I think. If in doubt, Gandhi said it.
Okay.
Well, there's always lots of good sayings out there, and they've got a lot of depth and meaning, which is great. So, and it's good people live by them. So, but that's been really, really great chatting to you. So, I can tell you've got a real passion for what you do and the underwater world.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
And where do people do you have people follow you, or on social media or anything?
Um, can do. I often post updates on LinkedIn. I like taking photos of the vessels that I go on, or
Okay.
Yeah.
some of the landscapes that I get to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe any people listening, if they've got any questions for them, they can direct them at us, or we can pass them on to you about, what you do or your career path. It's always interesting if we can inspire people to think, what they
Yeah,
might want to
I'd be
do, or
more
might
than
Yeah.
want to do
happy.
something similar to you. So,
I'd be more than happy to chat to anybody who wanted to know a little bit more information, or maybe even some advice on how
yeah,
to go about finding your career after university.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we'll put that in the show notes and your LinkedIn handle as well. And then hopefully we'll hear from some people with some
Yeah.
questions.
That'd be good.
Yeah. But
Oh,
but thank you very much for being on the BiG Scuba podcast.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. It's been an honor, and it's been great talking to you.
And we're back. Well, that was really good,
It
really
was.
positive.
Yeah.
Lovely to speak to her and talk about the underwater world.
Yeah, and it's good to have a bit of a mix from being a scuba diver and see where that's led to her career as well. So a bit,
Yeah,
bit of both. Yeah,
yeah.
recreational and career wise.
It's interesting. I think there's so much science involved with all this, and it's interesting what way it's all going to go because, I know when I mentioned about the AI things, you automatically thought, about, that be a negative thing, but it doesn't
Mm.
have to be a negative thing.
No, and I don't think so because you're dealing with depths that are unreachable by a human being
Yeah.
physically.
And I think there will always be a place for the human input
Yeah.
in these things where, and I can't see that ever being replaced. I think AI will enhance different jobs and things like that and hopefully make it better.
It's no different to space, really, is it? I mean, I
Well,
know
this
we
is
don't
where it
know
all
the half
starts
of
getting
it.
interesting, no, because it's the same science, and we don't know. We develop a new stuff in there with that science as we are with the science in going deep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just they're kind of parallels, aren't they?
It is, and this is why deep is interesting because of what they're doing,
Mm.
and it is all relevant. It's all related, and hearing her say, and I think that must be fascinating to see these scans of the seabed, and you've seen parts of the world that no one's ever seen. The seabed is that vast and that
Mm.
wide.
But you're an explorer almost,
Yeah,
aren't you?
yeah,
Yeah,
of course you are.
without physically kind of being there, but you've got those eyes on. Uh,
Well, every day you're thinking, what are we going to
What are
see
we going to
today?
find?
Yeah, what are we going to see today? You know, there'll be wrecks that appear that have never been seen since they've sunk,
Yeah, then there's no reason.
whatever war that was or whatever.
Yeah, and the Mediterranean was a really hectic place, and
Oh,
well, still
definitely.
is. But yeah, imagine what went on.
Well, there's been all sorts of wars over
Yeah,
the hundreds of years, not
mm,
just the Second World War, but going back way before that.
yeah,
It's
yeah. And it is a very deep sea. People think the Mediterranean is shallow, but it's not. It's
I can't remember who we spoke to who told us about that.
I think, yeah, it's in the early days, definitely. But yeah, when you're thinking like 5,000 meters.
Oh, yeah, that's like 5,000 meters down.
Yeah, and then you think like the wreck, what's the famous wreck in Greece that we've spoken about? The
Well, you
Britannic,
got Britannic there, and
that's
you also got
300.
Sonova,
Yeah,
which is
but the
more of a shallow.
Britannic's 300 meters, and you think that's deep. Is it
No,
300 meters?
Britannic's about 118 meters,
Yeah, it's well,
and
it's
it's
doable,
tech.
isn't it?
No, it's tech. So you got to be a tech diver to do that, and you have to get a permit from the Greek authorities, I believe.
That's the one Jack Cousteau did, isn't it? On open circuit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He must have been knocked off his backside doing that.
But then in the, like, putting it into perspective, if that's like 100, 200 meters, and then the ocean, the Mediterranean Sea is 5,000, it's
Yeah.
huge, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And you can't imagine what's at the bottom there.
Well, we probably haven't scanned it all,
No.
and I spoke to someone on the who came to do her open water, must be a few years ago, and she was doing a similar job, but for the Royal Navy, because a lot of these charts are way out of date and
Mm.
weren't are not particularly accurate anyway. So when you send something like great big aircraft carrier over to sea somewhere, well, they have to go and send, and that was her role. That her and her team would go and survey the area to see whether you could get the ship
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
because the draft and
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's interesting, and that'll be a role that's always needed.
Yeah. And it's an ever-changing environment. Like, say, volcanic wise, Italy is a very volcanic,
Big time, yeah.
full of activity. And, what's to say that's going to happen in the future?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. As technologies go on, and the 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 race for communications, and
Mm.
the air as it is between the east and the west,
Yeah.
all these things become hot property. But
Exactly.
without
Yeah.
us getting political and
No,
really
don't. But there you go. She's an example of where you can get, and an industry she's within, and with a love of the underwater world. So,
Yeah, and I thought it was a nice touch that her dad was a diver first and
mm,
introduced him to it. And I thought, yeah, that is nice. And I spoke to someone on the last time I was at Stony, helping out Crystal Seas. His daughter was learning to do open water, and I asked him if he was a diver. Does he dive? And he said no, and he's
mm,
scared of diving. And I said, well, you haven't got to go really deep. You could even do it as
no,
a snorkel and just do that together. That'd be, and you'd really enjoy that.
yeah,
Something to do with your sibling, with your son or daughter.
yeah, yeah, and just doing a little bit out of your comfort zone can
I
be
think you have to
beneficial.
a little bit,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because you might surprise yourself and go, actually, I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
That doesn't mean I'm going to join you on a parachute jump, because I've watched them and gone, and I think, yeah, I don't really want to jump out of a
Honestly, you'd love
perfectly.
it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with diving, because I quite like the whole fact that a plane will go up and then go
You come
along a bit
down.
and then come down and land nicely. And I think, like, you wouldn't normally get in a car and then go, hey, I'm not going to wait for it to stop. I'm just going to bail out halfway along in the journey. Do you know
Well, you
what I
never
mean?
know. Don't never say never. Never say never.
Never
So,
say never.
never. No,
Doesn't
exactly.
mean that's going to happen.
Anyway, so we also would like to say thank you to Narked at 90, the sponsors of this podcast.
Absolutely.
They are beyond
And of
technical,
course,
and look them up at www.narkedat90.com. They've got everything for your technical diving needs and recreational needs.
and they've got a blog.
They have. So that is also at their website. They're putting something up there quite regularly now.
They put something up really good the other day again, and that was about what deco stops to use.
Mm.
Now they also put something in. They always put something interesting up. But I was reading, and it's good for anyone who wants to know about oh God, the names escape me now.
Spit it out.
The technology in dive computers,
The algorithms.
the algorithms. So that's what was the word I was looking for. So most of them use a Ballman algorithm, which works
Mm.
out how it takes you down and brings you back up again. Well, there's a good thing on Narked at 90's blog telling you all about that as
Mm.
well. So
Good education.
it is. Make
Yeah.
sure you're following Narked at 90 on their Facebook. They got hacked a while back. not particularly a nice experience for anyone who loses their social media, and they had thousands on their Facebook. So if you're not following Nut at 90 on their Facebook account, because they do a lot on Facebook, make sure you're following them on their right Facebook account. If you're not sure, either contact them, look them up, look on Facebook, or message us, and we'll steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, or the link will be in the show notes. And also, this episode will be coming out in November 2024. So Christmas is coming, and the Not 90 team have given us a code BiG Scuba 2024 to use on their website if you're looking for a gift for the diver in your life.
Yes, absolutely. I've got to buy some stuff as well. I have a daughter who's hit as well.
Yeah, so that is Not 90, and I think we will see you on the next one.
Yeah, I think so. I think we kind of covered everything. Always contact us about, let us know where you're diving. If you've done an interesting dive, you want to shout about it. We like to hear that. If you just tried a rebreather, maybe you've done just giving that a go. We did earlier in the year with Scott Ladderman. We loved it. So, you know, if you're thinking about that, give it a go. There's early bird tickets available for the Go Diving show at the moment.
Yeah.
Look them up. That's always worth going to, at the Go Dive show. And also, I think that's it actually. Oh, we went to the Ocean
Film Festival.
Yes, didn't we? We had a really good time.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that.
Yeah. And then if you've got any dive sites to recommend or any questions for Aniela, put them our way and we'll pass them on.
Yeah. Excellent. So I think that we covered everything. So that was
the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Now that does wrap up today's episode of the BiG Scuba Podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on what platform you are listening on. That way, you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us, or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.